was. So Daniel 2 and 44. And in the days of these kings shall the power of heaven set up the kingdom, which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. That's the one kingdom that's going to be established, that's not going to be subjected to what the rise and fall. All the prior kingdoms, they were ruled by the evil. This one presently has been ruled by the least of the heathen, which is why it's the wickedness and the oneness of the nation push everything to the brink of destruction. This is the last one, and it's basically the ultimate example of why righteous rule is required. Because as it is presently, everyone's all psychologically jacked up, man. They all got demons on them, they've got various aspects of their life that they're unhappy with. The general way people conduct themselves in life is against their best interest. You have everyone basically being subject to the powers that be, being subject to the system, where you've more or less lost any capability to have any be able to build something up for yourself. You're relying on having some kind of angle within the system to get in on someone else. All the aspects that people glorify to kind of get some kind of place within the system, like becoming a celebrity, becoming an actor, musician, or something to that effect, where you're going to make a lot of money. You're going to be integrated into someone else's system. You're going to have to get a deal with someone else's company. You're going to have to put your music out on someone else's platform. You're going to be acting in films that are basically being put together by different companies, man, different directors and whatnot. You're not really going to have that ultimate power. You're just going to be subject within a system. And that's how everything runs now. And that's really where the elites want to push it even further, to where there's not going to be any outside of the system. It's all just going to be within it. So it says, for so much as thou sawest that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands. As thou sawest, for so much as thou sawest that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and they break in pieces the iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold, the great power hath made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter, and the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof true. And yeah, there was what's his name? Nebuchadnezzar. After he heard it, he was gassed, because he was thinking, yo, he's that head of gold. He was thinking, yo, my kingdom is going to be the most splendorous. He was caught up in his own splendor. He didn't see the whole. He couldn't really get the whole scope of it, especially because he was already established. And that's the thing. It's like once you're established within as a power, then people ain't they ain't thinking about going down no way. And that's why it's the same. Whenever you have the prophets come up against different systems and say, yo, it's time. Hey, it's time for the decline. It's time for the fool. No one wants to hear it. And now that's what we're in the midst of happening yet again. Where it happened with the Babylonians. Now it's happening with the modern day Babylonians in a modern day Babylon. Because this current system is essentially a soup of all the different kingdoms that came before. The so-called white man's taken various aspects of these different rulerships and then molded them into one. So back in 2nd Esdras 9, 2nd Esdras 9 and 5, it says, for like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest, even so the times also of the highest have plain beginnings in wonder and powerful works, and endings and effects and signs. And here we're witnessing those endings and effects and signs. Because if you go back to like each year on year, and the baseline of absolute, chaotic madness that goes on the world basically just has been ramping up and up. You go back to like 2017, 2018, you weren't even getting the same degree of events happening, things going down as you did in like 2020. And then when you compare 2020 to like this year, then it's on another scale already. So it's been ramping up. And then you compare like 2017 to like 2011, 2012, it was nowhere near the same kind of scale. You would have something go down every once in a while, even when we're talking conflict-wise. You might have had, I remember you had like the Arab Spring, where it was a huge upheaval in the Middle East and North Africa, but then after a while it kind of tapered off. And now you've basically had these things occurring to where it's like with what's gone down in the situation in Ukraine, it's not even really cooled down. It's something where it's basically been a big back and forth, and it's built up more and more steam. When it first started, they were saying that they weren't going to send no tanks, they were basically going to send like supplies and volunteers. But now you have planes being sent, Poland's looking to send tanks, you've had missile systems sent, you've had a variety of things basically being sent. And they're being fortified by NATO because without that, it's like without all that support, it's done. But that's basically been maintained because they're trying to have a war against Russia and then basically pushing it further. So it says verse 6, verse 7. And every one that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith whereby you believe shall be preserved from the said perils and shall see myself being preserved from the said perils. Because the time is going to be is a time that's basically never been before. And that's something you can observe. You look at like the state of mind of where people are at now and what they're willing to part with. I mean, you go back to like the 70s, 80s, and 90s. If you were to talk about like huge scale pedophile rings, people would say you're a fucking lunatic, man. People would say you're a maniac, you're a conspiracy theorist. But now you've had it exposed that the BBC was running a colossal pedophile ring. There's basically like the Hollywood pedophile rings been exposed with what's his name, Jeffrey Epstein. That whole situation where he had a book and this guy got assassinated by by ninja assassins in his in his prison cell. The guy was in his prison cell. He had all the details. He could expose everyone. This guy got some invisible ninja came in through the wall, melted through the wall, tied his bed sheets around his neck and hung him. And it made it look like it was a suicide. And then everyone was just like, well, that's the end of that. Meanwhile, with in the BBC, with Jimmy Savile, they just lumped everything on him. Meanwhile, for this guy to be operating as long as he did, there'll have to have been hella people involved. So these things are on an institutional level. And then you had the other thing come out as well about the foster care system over here in the UK as well. The foster care system is a huge ring as well involved, where those hella kids they'll put into situations where they'll get completely violated. So with these things to observe, you can then see like, this shit's been a whole mess. People have been talking about it for ages. Now that it's been exposed on a grand scale, people are going back to clips from like the 80s and 90s where people mention things, especially with what the hell's this guy called, man? Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein. People got clips of like the I think it was one of the Oscars awards being given, a guy making a joke about Harvey Weinstein and whatnot. and how that, women had to go and give him sexual favors. So these things have basically been known, but no one's speaking about it. And that's just on what's been exposed. With what's been exposed, you should then think like how much more is going on behind the scenes. And this is the same for like organizations like the CIA and the FBI. They'll basically come out and say, oh, in the 60s we did this, in the 50s we did this. Now we ain't messing with that anymore. But again, these things, now is a time where you should be thinking like, what the fuck else have they been doing? Daniel 12:1, and at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was, since there was a nation, even to that same time. Yeah, that time of trouble. And that's what we're in the midst of. We're now on the brink. The main thing that's being pushed by various aspects of society is AI and the merging of humanity with machines, which is what brothers have done been talking about for the longest, the rascal. Basically integrating technology within people, within their flesh. And that's something that has been in media, has been put in ideas, been put in people's minds. You had TV shows, you had movies, you had Terminator, you had the $1 Million Man, you had all these various ways where it's like, oh, integrating with technology is gonna be amazing, it's gonna be splendid, you're gonna live forever, you're gonna have a supercomputer in your brain, you're gonna be able to lift the car with one arm, all these various things. That's what people have been looking, thinking like, damn, this is gonna be baller. But then it's the other aspect of it as well is the system of control, and that's where you had like cyberpunk and whatnot, where when you have these technologies implemented on a national scale, everyone's basically, they're fucked. There's no escape. It's like now, everyone's got smartphones. So it's like, that's why it's these different apps people use, these different means of contacting one another. All these things are traceable. All these things are basically can be an eye can be kept on. And really, you have China where it's been expanded, but again, it's over here in the West. People, they're looking to instate very similar things. It says what? And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was, since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time, thy people shall be delivered, every one that should be found written in the book. So yeah, only those written in the book, those are the elect. Those are the ones that are going to be delivered. But then, by and large, on a global scale, there's going to be a mass amount of death and destruction. And that's something we already see going down. Basically, you have civil unrest has become a normal, straightforward, expected thing in most places in the world. Somewhere even like China, where with like Tiananmen Square, it's already known these guys, they don't cramp. People are still with protests. I remember when Hong Kong was ready to get assimilated into China, they were doing hella protests. There was that video of like some, 12 or 13-year-old girl getting her head walloped in, getting hunted down by riot cops, and then just everyone's kind of flipping out. Because they're like, yo, that's some little girl, like, why are you chasing her down and gripping her up? But even them guys are going back wild. Over here in the West, it's basically expected as standard. Over here in the UK, it's more been the climate protesters. But in general, people have been, the social unrest has been picking up. And in mainland Europe, even more so. The French will riot at the drop of a hat. They do that shit whilst they're having a croissant and a fucking latte, man. But it says what? And many of them that sleep in the dust shall awake, some to shame and some to everlasting, shall awake, some to everlasting life and some to shame and everlasting contempt. So yeah, you're basically going to have those that stood with Yahweh Shai, they're going to receive their reward, But then those that basically stood with Esau, stood with the so-called white man, with his kingdom, with his rulership, they're gonna have that shame on them, because they're gonna realize, yo, they didn't stand with the lamb. And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. And yet the book was sealed until it was unsealed. Because there was going to Acts, he said, what was the Acts? He was saying there needs to be the falling away first, in Thessalonians, I believe, where at that present time, during the time of the Romans, that wasn't when the kingdom was going to be instated. I think it was then. So Acts 1. So Acts 1 and 6 says, when they four will come together, they asked of him, saying, Lord, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom to Israel? And he said unto them, it is not for you to know the times or the seasons which the Father hath put in his own power. Yeah, so back then, what were the disciples looking for? They were looking for the kingdom to return unto Israel. That's what they knew it was prophesied. They knew Yahushua had come to fulfill, but they thought it was going to go down at that time, where it wasn't. That's why more things needed to come to pass. And it's now in this time when these things are coming to pass. And he said unto them, it is not for you to know the times or the seasons which the Father hath put in his own power. Yeah? So as far as for, when the exact day is, that's not something we're going to know. They said what? But ye shall receive power after that the Holy Spirit is come upon you, and ye shall be witnesses unto me both in Jerusalem and in Judea and in Samaria and unto the utmost part of the earth. And yeah, that was something that needed to come later on. But basically being witnesses on the utmost parts of the earth, that's in this present time now. Because during that time, the disciples didn't go into the Americas and prophesy. And it's now is when all these things are being fulfilled, as well of both Judah and Israel being oppressed together, man. That came to pass now. And when he had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up, and the cloud received him out of their sight. That's another thing that's been a hot topic. The clouds, man, the chariots. That's now been it went from that's another thing. Whereas if you're talking about UFOs, which now they call UAPs, if you're talking about these things, you're raving like batshit crazy lunatic. But now, again, it's basically become a thing where it's one of the most normal things in the world. Because it was as soon as the Pentagon said, well, yeah, you know, we've had brushes with them, they had footage come out, and now it's like, oh, there's been altercations. Now it's been accepted in like no time flat. But why? It's because now is the time. Now it's everything getting ready to hit the wall, man. They know Yahushua is on his way. And when he returns, he's going to come with the chariots and come in force. So it's just like the Holy Ghost basically preparing everyone in their minds. Like when there's, you know, these ships come to see them as an adversary, that's being pushed heavily. So it says, and a cloud received him out of their sight. And while they looked steadfastly toward heaven, as he went up, behold, two men stood by them in white apparel, which also said, Ye men of Galilee, why stand ye up? No. Why stand ye gazing up into heaven? The same Yahushua which is taken from you into heaven shall so come in like manner as you've seen him go into heaven. So yeah, just as you had, prior men wrapped up into chariots, you had Enoch and Elijah. Yahushua was basically translated up to them in the chariot. And it said, what? The same manner in which you saw him go, you're going to see him return. So he's going to return in those chariots. And then as well, Isaiah 47:3. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. Yeah. When Yahushua makes you return, he's not going to meet them as a man. I'm really with Revelation 1:7 says, behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all the kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him, even so, amen. Yeah, so it says every eye on earth is going to see him, and then what? All the kindreds are going to wail. And it's not, if you deal with the modern day church, you might think that wailing is going to be related to bliss, related to them seeing all the flowers, all the love of what Jesus has coming with them. But that's not what it's going to be. It's going to be what? The true image of Yahushua as a so-called black man. And why? Because he's coming with vengeance in mind. Luke 12:49. I am come to send fire on the earth, and what will I if it be already kindled? And yeah, that's essentially what should be expected when Yahushua makes his return, to bring a fire onto earth. Because he's come what? I'm getting in Daniel 7. Daniel 7 and 17 says, these great beasts which are four kings which shall arrive out of the earth. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. Yeah, so the saints of the Most High are going to take the kingdom, which is what? By force. Because it's only a modern day dream that you can basically have like a shift from one kingdom to another by peace. That's just not a thing that's gone down. If you look at what happened between each of the different rulerships before, it always went down in blood. And then Exodus 3:15 says the Lord is or 15 and 3. The Lord is a man of war. So that it should already be known. That's how the Lord was dealt. It's called what? The Lord of hosts, man. The Lord of armies. So back in 2nd Ezra 9. Oh yeah, no. There's a bit more. So Daniel 12:4. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. Yeah, now we're in that time of the end, where what? Knowledge has been increased. Because now is a time where a lot of the questions that couldn't be answered before can be answered. Like, 2 Thessalonians 2 and 4 says, who opposeth and exalteth himself, oh no wait, and free. It says, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. So the man of sin being revealed, that wasn't until this day. Because as far as from back then, the details of who Esau was, Esau basically put on his camouflage, man. He'd basically taken on a variety of different identities, and he hid in himself. But now it's been revealed. Esau Edom, who he is. And now he's getting judged basically for, hey, the same judgment that Esau been running from Genesis, man. So 2nd Ezra 9, verse 9 and 8. So it says, shall be preserved from the said perils, and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders. For I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. Then shall they be in pitiful case, which now have abused my ways, and they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments. For such as in their life have received benefits, and have not known me. And they have loathed my law while they had yet liberty, and when as yet place of repentance was opened unto them, understood not, but despised them. Yeah. So that's talking directly amongst Israel. Amongst them, there was the root, basically, for salvation for them, which is what? Through Yahushua. That's what he sacrificed was for the elect, to cover the sins of the elect. Because only the elect basically going to come within Yahushua. Those that aren't the elect, they're going to see it. They're not even going to be able to measure. They're not even going to be able to measure what it is, as far as a like what it means. They're basically passing behind them, like Esau did with the laws. Oh yeah. Ecclesiastes 12:1. Remember now thy Creator. Ecclesiastes 12:1. Remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them, while the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. So yeah, basically, remember you're creating the days of your youth. The door's going to be open for a season, for a time. But once that door closes, hey, it's a wrap. And that's the reality of how it's going to hit for people. A lot of Jake, they might be seeing the videos, they might be watching, they might just see it as entertainment, see it as something they're not taking too seriously. As hey, once it hits that point, people are going to be looking for some means, some opening for salvation. And you're like, yo, one of those guys talking about this, but it's gonna be a wrap. Because it's for who's for. It says, in the days when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. Yeah, all that a big part of what makes people think this society is so great as it is the industries, the capability to make money, that trade these various different what they call the various different enterprises, let's say, that exist for people to get into and basically make money, for that American dream to live. But all of that is going to meet its end. It's something where it's already known. The big indicator of that is with the stock markets. They basically have them super inflated, and they've been in need of correction for like the last 4 years plus. I think the last big one, 2016, and then since then it's not been on the scale of basically where it should be, because it's very artificial, and that basically keeps society running, keeps the economy moving to where this place can still function. And once that comes to everyone's going to be in tears. And the doors, it says, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out the windows be darkened, and the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up with the voice of the bird, and all the doors of music shall be brought low. And when they shall be afraid of that which is high, and fear shall be in the way, and the almond tree shall flourish, and the grasshopper shall be a burden, and desire shall fail, because man goeth to his long home, and the mourners go about the streets. So that's all the bliss, all the things that now people are able to glory in, all that's going to be done. And we've already had an example shown to the Western world where you had the pandemic lockdown. During the pandemic lockdown, all those things ceased to be. People were losing their minds, man. They were bouncing off the walls. You couldn't go out nowhere. The most you could do is do a walk around the local park. Then if you walk too far, the cops might walk up and slap £100 fine on you. You go to Tesco, you're queuing up like for an hour and a half to get into a fucking Tesco. During those times, everyone was all kinds of jacked up. And now that all these things are open once again, it slipped out. People ain't remembering. They're not paying it any mind. So Obadiah 1, start from one. It says, the vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Most High Power concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord Yahweh, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, let us rise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, thou art greatly despised. And that's a flip, because if you go back to how Esau was viewed before, he had basically what? That shield of Cain on him, man.
Complexion for protection.
Yeah, where he basically had...
I'm joking.
Yeah. Well, he could go where he will, and people would deal with him a certain way. But now, whoa, it's the most recent story I can think of is them women in Mexico, those American citizens, which being an American citizen used to be the golden ticket. If you're an American citizen, a guy could be about to blow your head off, and then be like, wait, you're an American citizen? Like, no, stop. Because they're thinking like Bill Clinton's about to come down, play the sax, and then, you know, call the military in to blow your ankles off. Now we're in a time where, you know, the most what's going to be glaring in people's minds is how America completely evacuated from Afghanistan. Them men were in Afghanistan for like 10 years plus, then we're just like, in the afternoon, just like, nah, we're done. And then man went in there, just like, you're just leaving? Just like that? And then we're trying to hang on the Air Force One as it was leaving the country, man. There was a guy this guy was thinking, I'm gonna hang on the wing till we get to America. That's how fucking desperate that man was. But that man stayed there. But again, that's now the whole image has shifted. Esau doesn't have that dominant image, man. Behold, I have made thee small among the Gentiles. No, small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. Verse 3. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the cleft of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Though thou exalt thyself as an eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord Yahweh. Yeah, and that's... yeah, to the stars, it's a big part of why, a big aspect of Esau's pride, man. This guy's built skyscrapers. He basically likes to put himself, you know, at a height to where he can look down on everyone else. He thinks these different miracles he's got, this technology, the capability to, you know, to fly into space, then means that he's what? He's now ascended to godhood. He really thinks he's become the Most High, man. But what's the reality of it? That's his pride. His pride has deceived him. That's the same thing that happened to Nebuchadnezzar. The example of him was what? He was stupefied, man. His brain got turned into a scrambled egg, man.
And his body as well.
He got zapped. He was functioning on the level of a beast. So then, given now Esau's fallen into the same trick, the same trap, the snare of pride. When the scripture said, "What pride's not made for men." So that's gonna be part of his downfall. Thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord Yahweh. If thieves came to thee, if robbers died by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? How are the things Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? Yeah, and that's something that's happened over time. Is the leg's been made bare, man. All the secrets of Esau, well, I mentioned it before. When you go back to the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, you try talking about a pedophile ring, in places of power, people would call you a raving lunatic. They'll say you're batshit insane. Now that shit's running in newspapers. Now these things are basically being exposed as having been around for decades. So all those secrets are now being laid bare. When you compare like what went down in Vietnam in the 70s to the Iraq War, a lot of the things that went down in the Iraq War, they all exposed far quicker. People turned on them a lot quicker.
That's a prophecy of Psalms. The tongue full of the mouth itself. Yeah, certainly, I'll correct that. So Heavenly Father, as well, even with Matthew, right, the Lord speaking about it, that this man had free reign basically to do as he pleased. There'll be no flesh to be saved. But that's why the Heavenly Father sped up the time scale for these things like the brother mentioned. How you have go back to the CIA doing things, back in the 1950s and 60s, dealing with various different individuals and different sects. How they took that shit they did, there was a full it was ironclad. The information, the sensitive information was kept in an ironclad container, right? But now in this day and age that we're in, it's just free flowing, bro. We just have with the internet age, the information age, it's just free flowing, coming out in abundance, right? Psalm 60. I'll start from 2. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows and shoot at arrows, even bitter words, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly they shoot at him and fear not. Right, so this is a Psalm of David, and he basically prophesying, and this is dealing with Esau Edom, the so-called white man, the devil the Bible speaks of. Right, in this modern day time, him basically dealing with his secret society. The Club of Rome, Trilateral Commission.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's various different secret old boys clubs basically, where they have an agenda. They meet in darkness and they basically work out different things with their
But is it better?
I would say focus, but it's another word for it. Think tanks, that's it. They have their think tanks run through different secret organizations, and their main goal or main goal of operations is to what? Take the children of Israel up out the way. Right? Psalms 83 also speaks to this. So reading on, verse 5, it says, they encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, you shall see them. Yeah, they commune of laying snares privily. That's why over here in Europe, right, you have certain things that are dealing with food that are not passed over there. Right, whereas in America, you have things like lead in cereal or heavy metals and things of that nature. They have this stuff over here as well, various nations in Europe. But on a mass scale, it's over in America, right? And that's the reason why they're shooting at certain individuals in silence. That's why they have E numbers, all this type of stuff. The ingredients list is longer than the Nigerians' list of names, man. All right? And why is that? Because they're shooting in secret. They have an agenda, a goal in mind, and they want to get the docile and the dumb, those that don't know nothing, up out the way, including their own people, right? Because there's an elect on the left-hand side, man. That's why they have the image of the mark of the beast, right? That's an agenda they have for them to, you're a slave, you can come into our new world, you have a position. But for the most part, they want to, it tells you that in the Georgia Guidestones that are now being taken down, how they wanted to have only 500 million people upon the earth. Right now, the population is around, 8 billion, 8.5? So they're talking about killing 7.5 to 8 billion people upon the earth. Why do you think the pandemic happened? Things like that, right? Even with the people taking the jumper, the jabby jab, why they roll that out, right, and have a lot of like back talk in it later on down the line. The reason why is because they want the shooting in secret, but mainly at the children of Israel. That's the main target when they do this, right? So reading on verse 6, they search out iniquities, they accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep, right? But the Most High shall shoot at them with an arrow, suddenly shall they be wounded, right? So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves, all that see them shall flee away. And this is what's happening right now, as the brother was saying. They're basically making their tongue fall upon themselves. If you see what they've done to Julian Assange, they socked the hell out of him, thumped him up, man. That guy's nose was like Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, man. Why? Because they feel some kind of a way that he is letting out this information, but it's too late. It's going to be drawn back, right? Same with Edward Snowden, right? He had to defect the bloody Russian, man. He knows full well they'll keep him in good standing because why? Even though he wasn't really intent on, well, I don't know where his mind was, but I would figure he was doing it saying, yeah, I want to help Russia. He did it for truth's sake. But he knows that in doing it, the only people that would safeguard him would be Russia. So that's why he's fled over there. But all this information we divulge is basically showing the time that we're in, right? That the testimony of Yahweh Shai is the spirit of prophecy. And these prophecies are testament to the spirit of Yahweh Shai coming to pass. It's the Bible, right? The Holy Bible is reigning truth in this whole world, right? None shall run our name. This is what's going to deliver you in these days, right? Wisdom and knowledge shall be the strength for thy salvation, right? But harking back on the point in verse 7, it says, but the Most High shall shoot at them with an arrow, suddenly shall they be wounded, right? So the Heavenly Father is only going to shoot with his arrow, right? Because he has a treasure trove of artillery, right? He actually gave over to Esau to say, yo, this is yours. Go forth and menace and be a menace upon the earth, as it tells you in the book of Revelation, right? It being used for a little season. But only, as the Lord said, that they that live by the sword shall die by the sword. The same thing that gave this man power is the same thing that's going to get him out of the power seat, right? Because nuclear weapons, they've been designed for one purpose and one purpose alone. One, for Esau to secure himself upon the earth with the power and the threat to the nations, making a quaker and sin before him, but then ultimately, that would be the beginning, but the tail end of everything would be the fact that the weaker nations would actually have access to the same weapons of warfare, and then take him out of the way before he even has a chance to use these powers that he has, right? Let me show you. Yeah. Verse 8. Go ahead.
Obadiah 1 and 6. How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? All the men of thy confederacy brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have perceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in it. And that's how it's all going to go in a cascade of things. All these nations currently, they're at peace. Currently, they're allies. Currently, they're working together. They're going to turn more and more against America, which is something that's already been seen in very, gradual degrees.
De-dollarization, right?
Yeah.
That's a massive sign of showing America losing the power is slipping away from America. We have many nations that are headed by the BRICS, right? They're basically saying that we ain't gonna deal with the really they didn't have the weapon, the military backing behind them to make the transformation today. They're seeing that, you know what, we can kind of make a little move, you know.
But it's more
Start
because
thinking.
China and Russia have the capability. Start of like basically trying to financially, they're solid enough, and America can't just cut them off because they did the trade war. Then everyone was bleeding all around. Because all kind of businesses were in pain. I remember those certain products. While I worked, they're being sourced from certain places. Then they had to switch out. And then there was various places where it's like, yeah, they just had to drop certain ingredients, had to stop doing certain things because of those sanctions. But now it's basically a point where they're so reliant on one another. It's like if it goes to it, then everything crumbles. And that's what they're trying to avoid. That's what's going to end. It says, "Well, shall I not in that day, saith the Lord Jehovah, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, and understanding of the mount of Esau, and thy mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed, to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter." That's how it's going to end. Because when we're looking at what Esau's got, that so-called wisdom, because going to was it Ezekiel 28, said what is wiser than Daniel. Esau's been given certain capabilities, been given the ability to build up his economy, his various technologies, his military might and whatnot to a certain level. But again, those things weren't just done through him. So when that's taken off him, then it can be squandered very quickly. Because that's basically how you look at prior kingdoms. You can look, it's like looking at Rome. Now they're renowned for what? Their military might. Then there was multiple times where Rome got put on smash by what? By barbarians, as they call them. These guys that were, they're not as sophisticated or developed so cool as far as the Romans are viewing them. But then what? They were able to come around. Because why? It was appointed at that time for Rome to get put on smash. And because the power structures where they were all done, man. Jake had to basically come up in there and take it over.
Heavenly Father sets the bounds that they cannot pass. And even when you go into our history, I forget which king it is, but he basically was meant to die at a point when the Heavenly Father extended his life by 15 years. Right? That basically shows you that the Heavenly Father ruled for the kingdom of men. And that's what the Heavenly Father is going to show in his last days of the day. These things happen right now. And I see in the group chat, I see event after now, 9 dead from this, 10 dead from that, but yeah, mass shooting, they trailed around them. Then they had which also, that's a whole nother. It's coming so thick and fast right now that it's overwhelming. Right, a lot of people already got news fatigue from going through the pandemic. See, from the onset of this decade, we basically had it as to where from the month of March. The month of March is, contained through marches and military, right? Basically, it's been an unraveling of the world as you know it, even more so than the years before, all right? And they're compounded upon that with these various events happening. Some of them may be orchestrated by these same powers that are governing the world right now in secrecy, but then a lot of it is, and even if it is them, it's still by the hand of the Heavenly Father on the left-hand side. Just making these things happen. Like the girl that done the shooting in her old school, she was some weirdo, no, the girl that done the mass shooting, which was 30 years old. They said she was like getting she got to, basically she was seeking psychiatric help. She had a mental illness. Man, the Heavenly Father, that is exclusive to America, man. I don't know no nigga I grew up with, and when I say nigga, I'm talking about anyone, right? I don't know no individual I grew up with that's been like, yeah, you know what? Man's gonna raise up the machine and go to spray up the wall. Oh no one like that in this country. They don't even. Yeah, that's real America, man, pertaining to the prophecy of what? It being a better place, man. All of the curses of the Heavenly Father upon that land, mainly for the sake of Jacob. But then guess what? It tells you in the book of Deuteronomy 29, I believe or 30, that these curses shall be passed over to, after the time set, it shall be passed over to your enemies. Right? Which I'm going to grab up. I'll grab this one. Alright. So this is Deuteronomy 31. And it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations. That's what's happened, man. We've called them to mind among the nations. That's why the Heavenly Father sent forth Elijah, all right, through the means of High Priest Abivivus, all right, who basically turned the hearts of the children unto the father, and the heart of the father unto the children, right? There was a cry made, and that's why men headed by, rank and file, everyone came into this faith, all right? And that's what it was. We were called to mind. One day you woke up and you said, something came right. I've done this, I've done that, but they're telling me this is the meaning of life, this is what life is about. But it don't resonate in your spirit, all right? And you get put on that mission to find out the true wisdom and knowledge and understanding of the Heavenly Father. Because why? It's stirred up in your spirit. The Heavenly Father unlocks your spirit, all right? So it says, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations, whether the Lord Yahweh thy power hath driven thee, and shalt return unto the Lord Yahweh thy power, and shalt obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children, with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that then the Lord Yahweh thy power will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations whether the Lord Yahweh thy power hath scattered thee. If any of thine that's it, I'll read into the point. Verse 5. And the Lord Yahweh thy power will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it, and he will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers. Yeah, we're going to magnify. The least in the kingdom is going to be greater than how did the Lord say, be greater than Elijah? So the least individual, whoever was determined the least by the spirit in the kingdom, they're going to be greater than anything you've ever seen upon this earth. Because the Heavenly Father is going to magnify and even extend our borders to where initially meant to represent, pertaining to where? From the Nile all the way up until I forget, but the true extension, I forget which side, to the tide, I believe. Because read pertaining to what God in the Eden was back in the day. He said it was four rivers, that four bodies of water that fed it, went through the land, right? So let me read on. So it says, reading in verse 5, and the Lord Yahweh thy power will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it, and he will do thee good, and multiply thee above thy fathers. And the Lord Yahweh thy power will circumcise thine heart, and thy seed to love the Lord Yahweh thy power with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. Right? And that's because the Heavenly Father is going to give us a heart that is take away our stony heart and give us a flesh heart. Basically make us extraterrestrial beings that are in tune with the covenant of the Heavenly Father. Okay? That's been the point, verse 7. And the Lord Yahweh thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecute thee. And this is what we're seeing right now. When you go back to the 80s, really, mid-80s, dealing with the crack epidemic, and even prior to that, you had the heroin epidemic, you had various drugs that really cracked, changed the different, dealing with Judah and then the tribes over in America, really changed the dynamic over there. where they basically set the ball in motion to everything we see unraveling today, right? With black culture as it's called, dealing with niggerdom, basically, right? And that was a curse. Now what you have the Heavenly Father doing the same thing with the so-called white man, right? How's he doing it with the opioid crisis, right? That's right in America right now. You have little kids just strung out on drugs, man. And there ain't no shots if you get Adderall,
The ADHD one. Because
yeah.
I think even there was a story I saw. It's like with esports, that they were basically giving like the guys that do esports Adderall, so they could as a performance enhancer. It's like electronics, like gaming.
Okay.
They Call of Duty or whatnot. Them guys were getting given
my
like
days. That is a
Adderall.
different.
So they,
That's a different kind. Why you
yeah,
putting them
like hell of them just
because they're already bugged out from being in front of the computer all the time.
They were like, they had to use it because everyone else was using it. Everyone else had to use it. It was just like, until they banned it, everyone was rinsing it. Adderalls, I think they give it to like 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds for so-called hyperactivity. But then you're just getting them strung out on drugs, man. But these again, now the level of understanding people have is on a way lower level. People are stupid as all go.
Really is when someone has ADHD or ADD and all that, that's not attention deficit. It just means you're boring them. They have a greater level of real hyperactivity.
They need to be physically engaged.
Yes. Like they're not built to sit in a classroom and just A, B. That's not what you gotta give them. You know, okay, this is the work we're gonna do. We're gonna build a house. So this is the dimension. This is like they're built. That's how you utilize people like that within society. Because they're basically
Even niggas those. Give them a thing and say, look, this is okay. That's the thing is
there's a need for them.
Yeah, with teachers, you would have to have physical activity involved in some manner. And that's just the difference between men and women as well. Because with the way the learning system is, it's geared towards the way girls learn.
Yeah.
Which is why now girls are outperformed by country miles. They have been outperformed boys. Because by and large,
and then even like the same interject. And even that's why the men that do really do well, for the most part, they're actually more feminine. They're seeing them in the workforce. They're more real.
yeah. Because with that's the thing. With a lot of issues, people are given drugs. Then it's like those drugs that they're given. It's like there's side effects. And it's, if you give Adderall to a kid, I don't know what the fuck they're doing. Them guys out there are out of their minds. But the other side of like America with drugs and whatnot is a lot of them. They'll be different companies where they all just want products sold. The good movie that goes into that is Love and Other Drugs. With Jake Gyllenhaal and Hathaway. Because he basically is like what they made Viagra by accident. And then it's like basically it's around the time, I think it's the 90s, when Viagra was made by accident. They're trying to make a heart treatment drug. Then they realize, something to that effect, I don't know. Then it ends up with like, it basically gives, keeps you rock hard. So then they'll basically set, just, okay, well we're going to sell this as that. And then what he goes to? He goes to the hospitals, he talks to the doctors, it's sales. He says, look, you can just start giving this as a treatment to for this particular illness or whatever. And that was what he was doing with a variety of different drugs. Then it was with like Viagra as its own niche. But that's why it's with that's an industry. That's all the money. But
pharmacia. It's witchcraft as well. They basically it's like you want this, but they're getting given what the demons are giving them. The Heavenly Father gave to her already. That's had for many millennia. It's had a I can never say this word.
Apothecaries?
Apothecaries. We had people that were well adversed with the herbs, and they would be basically administering, you know, they'll give you a diagnosis, say, they'll take some dandelion and burdock. Take this, take that. You need you're low in this nutrient, you're low in this nutrient. Give, you know, have this for a little while and come back after 10 days and see what's happening. That's why the word speaks about it. Right? But this man's the devil the Bible speaks of. And that's why we're in the predicament we're in right now. Going back to the point, dealing with this the fucking, you know, opioid crisis, that's a Heavenly Father cursing this man. And then the point I was gonna go back to as well was when you deal with Egypt, or when we came out of Egypt, it's in the Apocrypha, when it basically speaks about how Canaanites were taken out of the land little by little. Why? Because so wildlife could overrun the deficit of people. So the transition wasn't overnight. It took place over a measure of time. Right? That's what we're seeing. We're seeing a transition of power bit by bit. Right? That's why these curses are coming from Esau Edom. Slowly.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Isaiah 60:1. Arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord Yahweh is risen on thee. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. And here you can see now the light, the truth, as is shining through the more spectacularly, because everyone out here is in darkness. That's why it's, you know, something as simple as you know, giving your 7-year-old drugs to treat some, you know, to treat them for being hyperactive doesn't make a lick of fucking sense. But now that people just rumble, they've basically been put in a mindset where they're unburdening all their responsibilities. They're unburdening all their responsibilities onto the system. They're basically looking like, okay, well, I'm not, rather than having to deal with common sense, you know, I'm just going to give an iPad to my youth, then what happens. But then later on, when they find out, oh, you know, their daughters, well, good examples with like Dr. Phil and whatnot, where they have these problem kids come through, then the parent is a fucking white noodle, man. The parent is a soggy blanket. The parent doesn't even discipline the child or set any form of boundaries. And then you have a child that's just completely, they're completely out of line, man. They're complete rebellion. That's
My head and I do it. Oh, he rebellious.
but that's how that's how people are now with their kids. That's why it's a lot of people that they'll basically not even raise their kids. Then lo and behold, they find out, so, you know, what their kids are getting up to. Then they're like, I can't believe they're doing this, because there's been a complete disconnect. And as well, even with the family structure being nuked to high heaven, where you would have previously have had the mother raising the children, guiding the house, and the father providing, that whole structure has been destroyed. And that's a bedrock of society. Those families then build into communities, then build into a nation. So it's
Like how I nation.
yeah. So it's like, now that that's been thrown in the bin, it's confusion abounds, which is why the system comes in as the mother, the father, the teacher, you know, the apothecary. They basically fill the gaps. I mean, everyone just has to be a slave.
And everyone, like I said, everyone becomes a slave. So prophecies of the book come to life. The love of many shall wax cold. And you see, and speaking to your point of family, you see mothers not showing no tender mercy to their children, man. they're throwing them in the oven, they're killing them, they're doing all kinds of stuff. Why? That's because
in Bristol where she went off to party for like 3-4 days.
Yeah.
And then left her in the apartment to starve to death. Like 3 or something. And
saw another one out recently this week. But yeah, that's basically, it's happening. To a great degree. But that's because of love and money and waxing cold. Right? If you ain't got love for your whole family, man, trying to play come out between your legs. I can only imagine how much love you have towards yourself. Like, let alone someone just walking down the street, So it's gearing up to really judgment of Heavenly Father. Right? So let me read, we got something called This is the book of Jeremiah 50 and 25. The Lord Yahweh hath opened his armory, and hath brought forth the weapons of his indignation, righteous anger. For this is the word of the Lord Yahweh, the Lord power, Yahweh of hosts, in the land of the Chaldeans, right? Dealing with Babylon the Great, America, right? You so-called white people, you are Edomites according to the Bible, all right? Come against her from the utmost border upon her storehouses, right? The utmost border. Why? Because the Heavenly Father said his border shall be the border of wickedness, right? They said they shall build, but the Most High said he's going to throw them down, all right? Cast her up as heat and destroy her utterly. Let nothing of her be left. Slay all her bullocks. Let them go down to the slaughter. Right? And that speaks to what? Isaiah 19. Where it says that the Heavenly Father has a sacrifice of Bosra. Right? All of the kidneys, the blood, the grams, all of that, man. Woe unto them, for their day is come, and the time of their visitation. Alright? So I'm actually reading into it. The point I'm reading through it out for is the armory. The Heavenly Father has an armory full of his weapons. And he's going to dispatch, he's going to basically delve into it. And he's going to say, blow it, breathe on it, rub it off. Rapture, you're going to blow on it, breathe on it, rub it in. It's time for this one. After 2 years of holding it, side. And that's basically what's going to happen. The Heavenly Father is going to show you. Read this as well. This is the book of Isaiah 34 and 4. I'll start from 1. Come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein. Well, and all things that come forth of it. For the indignation of the Lord Yahweh is upon all nations, right? Read on. And his fury upon all their armies. You have utterly destroyed them, you have delivered them to the slaughter. And that's what we're seeing right now with the whole Ukraine, the Russian war deal. That's basically going to lead up to, culminate to World War III. Right, which ultimately you're gonna have even there could be wars prior to that, right? Battlefronts that come into engagement. When you read the prophecy in the book of Second Ezra, it speaks to many of the bridegrooms are basically going to be destroyed in the wars. All right, so there's going to be a what's the other word they use for it's going to be a consignment. Conscription, that's it. It's going to be a conscription, right? Where they're going to say all the men are consignment. I think they want to give him a key. as a man would say, yo, put the packs on the youngest. You know, put some packs on the youngest and tell them to go sell. No, but basically what you're gonna have is a conscription, and all the, you know, able-bodied men of fighting age, they're gonna go out to warfare, man. Just like they go over in Ukraine right now. Yeah, all the women and the children ship out. And you got some of their daughters, 24 years old or whatever. There was that one girl, she was crying about her dad died in Ukraine. And then she went, you can see her post on Instagram, she was twerking on the next post, man. You know, backing out for her beat, man. Over in Dubai, man. And that's basically what man died for his daughters to be twerking and hold it.
Get a camel shot on
Yeah,
camel
shot
shot
on
on
the
her
chest.
titties.
And her rub it in, massage it in. Good baby, we love you. You got Ishmael, yes, rub it in. Man wants to give a back shot to like, whatever it is. I should, you know, rubbing it in. Ooh, rubbing your titties, yeah. Look at the Simon says. The fuck up. But yeah, that's what's happening. So it says, reading on, it says, verse 3, their slain also shall be cast down, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and a mountain shall be melted with their blood. Right? Because you're going to have what? So you're going to have people that are basically going to run. It tells you in the book of Amos, 9th chapter, first verse, I believe it is, where it says, you know, people are going to run into the mountains, top of Mount Carmel, and then people are going to run into the bottom, you know, underground cities. The reason why they're going to do that, they're going to hide from, you know, the overthrow of the Heavenly Father being the mysteries, man, the ICBMs. But they're going to wind up dying in there, man. That's really going to be their sepulchre, so to speak, right? And that's because the Heavenly Father is determined in these last days that we're in. Verse 4. And all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll. Yeah, like it told in the book of Revelation, the 12th chapter, dealing with Michael and his angels fighting against the dragon or the beast and his angels. Right? You're going to have all the nations of the world are going to join together in some Avengers United type of scenario, right? With their exoskeletons, their drones, everything they can throw at the Heavenly Father, the Son, right? They're going to send them out there, and they got Michael, Howard Shai come down and dispatch them in one opening of the request, right? And all their hosts shall fall down as the leaf falleth off the vine, and as a fallen fig from the fig tree. Verse 5, for my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Right, that's the Heavenly Father spoke about what, having a treasure trove of different artillery to basically present before the message. And in doing so, what's he going to do? He's going to wipe out the world as you know it. He's going to set about a new heaven and a new earth, a new heaven and a new earth in one blow, basically. Alright? So that's the time that we're in. The Heavenly Father delving into the armor. So it says, behold, it shall come down upon Idumea. Who's Idumea? Idumea goes back to the nation of Edom, right? Who the children of Esau, who to their soul white man, right? And that's the Heavenly Father said his sword is going to bathe upon them as a nation, right? Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea and upon the people of my curse to judgment. Yes, so that's the people of his curse. That's why when you read the book of Zechariah, the 5th chapter, now they're pushing it to the forefront of the society with UAPs, UFOs, right, alien encounters. Like I did a video on Asteroid City, I believe it is, where they got music coming out by West Anderson. Yeah, that's it. Basically making a movie, and all the signage in the trailer just speaks to the Lord making a return upon the earth. Right? So that's the time we're in. And this man knows it. But the reason why these things are happening is because of every father is trying to believe. Right? So it says, verse 6, the sword, I shall read in verse 5, Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea and upon the people of my curse to judgment. The sword of the Lord Yahweh is filled with blood, is made fat with fatness, and the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. For the Lord Yahweh have a sacrifice of Bosra. This is actually, I'll quote verse 19. I think it might even be chapter 19, but I think I was speaking this verse. But in chapter 19, I think it's the altar of the Lord. No, Isaiah 19. Yeah, 19 went down. But it doesn't say the kidneys and the rams. Those closing this, they're putting the two together. But I know I was thinking of the altar and sacrifice. Right? For the Lord Yahweh have a sacrifice of Bosra, the great slaughter in the land of Idumea. Right? Looks like.
Revelation 18, 20 says, rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for the Most High hath avenged on her. And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone, and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. That's where it will end. As far as Esau, that's where it will end. Because he's essentially his rule. That the end is going to meet. It's going to be put on smash. And it says what? Fuss with violence. That's the thing. Is people now in most of the Western world are completely divorced from violence. If someone sees like a video of a punch up in the street, they'll be like, ooh. Because it's a rarity. It's something that doesn't happen too often, unless you're, I don't know, unless you're in the hood. You know, I was watching a fucking video on a bully in like South Korea. And the shit some of the people do is fucking insane, man. One guy skipped the police outside, they beat the shit out of him, they set him on fire in the school. But afterwards, they were hiding in his house waiting for him to come home. I'm like, bro, this shit we never do. I was like, these guys are not okay. Cause I was like, it's bullying. It's like, just call them a pain. Yeah, it's what, like whatever. But I'm not, these guys are doing like fucking coups and executions on the nigga. I was like, bro. Like, man said he can't even go home. Like, man was waiting in his house to suplex him. His front room, like, what the fuck's going on? But, as far as, I'll read it again. So I said, what? And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. And yeah, the city's going to basically be thrown down. That current Babylon, Babylon the Great, the daughter of Babylon, is basically going to be found no more at all. It's had its run. Like now, as it said in Rev 20, it's the little season. It's basically being extended, man. It's like when, a TV show had its run, then afterwards, Netflix said, okay, we're going to pay for another season. Or some online streamers said, okay, we're going to extend that after the original guys, finished it. And that's what we're in. We're in that second season where it's like, a bunch of the actors got old. The show ain't running as good as it used to. And it's like, it'd be better if it didn't come back, but it's got a role to play. It's just as, it was said in Thessalonians, there needed to be the falling away. There were things that needed to go down. And it's technology now that needed to be instituted so prophecy can be fulfilled. Yeah. But yeah, say, I want to see apostles.